Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I am going to be going through my March wrap up kind of reading stats for the month of March. So for the month of March I have read a total of 12 books. I read 25 out of 31 days. I have listened to an audiobook 5 days out of 31 days. I read a total of 2,436 pages. I read one audiobook, one ebook, and 10 physical books. I did 0 rereads. One book was on my TBR, and I had 0 arcs. The top 3 genres that I read in the month of March was manga, romance, and thriller. My ratings, I had, for 5-star ratings, I had 9 books. For 4-star ratings, I had 2 books. And for 3-star books, I had 1. And then 2 and 1 star, I had 0. But my favorite book that I read of the month of March was The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. Let's get into the ratings and stuff. So the first book that I read in the month of March was The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I read this with my Instagram group. It's not really a group, it's more of a group chat. There are 4 other people other than myself that are in there. I will link them down below. There's Stacy, there's Fiefs, there's Jess, and then there's Jen. Fiefs just joined the book chat in the middle of March when we started reading 1,000 Boy Kisses, which I didn't finish yet. I know, I'm horrible. I'm going to try to read that this month. But about this book. So you have this group of girls that go to this big time author's mansion to do a writing retreat. And you only know one character technically until you get to the house. And then all the other characters are like announced. And to be honest with you, I thought the beginning of the book was a little slow, but once you got to the house and things started happening, it picked up and it became the fastest book I ever read. I don't know how many times I said to myself, what the heck? What the heck? What am I reading? What the heck's going on? You know, kind of thing. It was interesting. I did end up giving this 5 stars. I have no words. I was blown away by the end. And all I can say is it sounds like there might be a second book coming for it. But I'm not entirely sure. The author hasn't announced that to my knowledge. But that's all I have to say is it sounds like it could be built off of, and I enjoyed it. The next book I read was Stitch and the Samurai, and I also gave this 5 stars. It was a manga. It was adorable. Stitch crashes his ship into this like royal samurai land type thing, and he becomes like best friends with the master because the master is like, oh, he's a panda. Oh, he's a koala bear. Oh, he's whatever. And they don't actually know what he is. And I thought this book was adorable. The friendship between Stitch and the samurai was absolutely adorable. And I can't wait to pick up the second volume. The third book I read in the month of March was also a manga, and that was Mint Chocolate Volume 1, which I also gave 5 stars. So, this one is kind of weird because they're technically step-siblings, but they don't act like step-siblings, nor do they so the main character, her mom is, I believe, widowed is what the outcome was, and then inserts the second main character's dad marries her, making them step-siblings. And she has been crushing on this boy forever, as long as she could remember. And then it's like, it's just filled with banter between the two of them, and like, they're like trying not to get caught with their feelings. And I do highly recommend this manga. It was super cute. I have the second volume checked out, and I cannot wait to dive into that one as well. The fourth book that I read in the month of March was Wotakoi Volume 1. I don't think I'm saying that right. It's also a manga. I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, so honestly, with this one, I was highly confused. They are all, I guess the Japanese word that they used was like for nerds. And like the main character, she read, you know, like they call it boy love, which is male-male romances. And they're also like gaming nerds and stuff like that. That aspect was cute. The friendship was cute. The banter was cute. But just the overall storyline, I was confused. That's why I docked off a star. But I'm not going to really go into detail about that one. The next book, obviously, I read the second volume of. I also gave that 4 stars. The next book I read is Something's Wrong with Us, Volume 1. This is also a manga. I rated it 5 stars. This is following 2 characters that known each other since they were children. He's kind of like a prince, I guess you can say, but like he's like the heir to his family and family's company and etc. And her mom was technically like their maid, I guess you can say, but she was I don't remember if this one was she was a sugar artisan or something like that. I think so, but it's where they make these specific treats, and she calls them sweets. But her mother has died, and she is left to basically take over her mother's place. Like, she doesn't see herself as anything other than a person to carry on her mother's legacy. And there's like this big conspiracy behind her mother's death, and the prince or whatever he is claims that he doesn't know who she is, and she plays it off as if she's somebody else just to kind of get in and try to dig up the dirt of her mother's death and the whole mystery and everything. And I found it pretty fascinating. There's a little bit of like a romance to it, but otherwise, I mean, I read 4 volumes of it so far, and I gave them all 5 stars. So yeah, but I read all 4 volumes in the month of March. And then I read Solace Volume 1, which is a manga adaptation to she has also a novel series of the same name. And it's just like, kind of like how with the Mortal Instruments, they did like a manga edition of the Mortal Instruments. It's basically the same thing as that. But this, she is, what did they call her? But I can't find the name of what they call her. But she's kind of like a bounty hunter kind of thing. Kind of like a slayer, I guess you can say. Which, it's in a Victorian time era. It's in London, England. And she, in the first volume, has a relationship with a vampire. And it's like, I guess kind of like it's not Fated Mate, but it's, what is it called? Like, they're not supposed to be together. And, like, I was hooked from the beginning. I mean, these are pretty chunky for manga. They're like 200 some odd pages long. But I can't really go into a whole lot of detail about this one without spoiling it. So, she basically gets caught killing somebody in the beginning. And then she's being hunted herself, kind of thing. So, this is volume 2. I'm hoping to get to this in the month of April. So, which is what the month is right now. It is currently April 3rd. Okay. The next book that I read was actually an audiobook, and it was Andy Biersack presents the works of Edgar Allan Poe. And in this, he picks a couple poems and picks a couple stories and then narrates them. And I also gave this 5 stars too, because like his voice was like the perfect voice for narrating. Like, I read it in maybe 3 days because I was busy throughout. But if I wasn't busy, I would have finished it in a day. Like, it was so good. I can't really like give too many details about Edgar Allan Poe's work because I've never really read it before. But I do have to say that my favorite that I came across was probably The Raven. And I get that that's basically his famous piece, but I get why. You know, it's got this feeling to it that just, I don't know, but it just had me hooked through the whole poem, story, whatever that one qualifies as. But the final book that I read in the month of March is This Girl for Real, Volume 1. And that is also a manga, and I read it on my iPad. In my book haul video, I had mentioned that I have gotten a Crunchyroll subscription, and you have like the access to the unlimited anime library, and then you also get access to their manga library, and that is one of their mangas. And this one I gave it 3 stars. I wanted to give it more because I did enjoy it, but I was confused. Like, I didn't know where the story was going. She's supposed to be this guy's mother's assistant in some kind of business that his mom does. I think she's like a writer or something. And it's basically just her being turned on to a younger male. I mean, there's nothing wrong with an age gap romance, but it's weird because, like, he doesn't know how to feel because he feels like he likes her, but then he knows, it's wrong at the same time. So he's, like, conflicted about the whole thing, and she's just kind of, like, shoving herself at him. Like, he walked in on her naked, and he's like, oh my god, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do this, kind of thing. And I don't know, like, maybe as I read on in the series, I might get a better understanding on it. But, I mean, I did have, you know, like, a really good reading month than I have the other, you know, January and February, where I only read, like, 2 or 3 books. And yeah, they may have all been manga, but I thoroughly enjoyed everything that I read. So that was my wrap-up / stats for the month of March. And I do, again, apologize for not vlogging much this, you know, in the month. I was having technical issues, and there's all kinds of stuff going on at home, and I don't know. But I will hopefully be more consistent in the month of April because there are 2 readathons going on that I'm wanting to take part in, We are already 3 days in, and I haven't read anything for them yet, but I have fulfilled other prompts. So, but I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.